What is up guys, it's Carl from Monkey Mods. In this video, I will show you quickly how to install the magazine adapter for the Firefly. That will allow the use of the corresponding magazines. Of course, it's proprietary. We have the short magazine and also the long magazine. Although the long magazine are still being further revised so that it will work more reliably. So this will be available on a later date. So without further ado, let's get started. We start assembling. We should check all the parts first. So you have this piece. This is the left side and this is the right side. Check to make sure that there is no damages. Then you have the front supporting and the slope piece. And this circular cylindrical thing is the what's it called? It's a part that secure the front support piece to the barrel and magazine tube adapter. I'll show you in a bit. And of course, you have the back supporting piece, and this is where the magazine release goes into as well. And this is the magazine release. Now, this part may need a little bit of sanding before you can actually install, or just to make sure that it works smoothly. I will just prepare some sanding sponge or sanding paper or the like, just to make sure that this part and this part is smooth. Right, and then you will have 8 pieces, 8 units of this small screw, 1 long and thin hex screw, not hex, Allen key screw, and then 1 very small spring with 2 circle or ring on both sides, 1 short pin, one short pin. Oh, I'm not very good at doing this. And 1 long pin for the magazine release. And then a long and thick Allen key screw. All right, first step, grab your, assembled Firefly, I guess. So we have to remove the palm grips and then the entire front end, that means the barrel and the magazine tube assembly, off from the main blaster first. So there is an easy way to do this. You can actually remove all these 6 screws and butterfly split the entire palm grip, but that would make the disassembly of this front piece difficult. So I would recommend you to do this. First, just remove these 2 screws on a priming bar. Alright, once you have these 2 screws removed, you should have a free moving palm grip. Now, what you need to do is actually just hammering this piece out using the palm grip like this. It will take a few tries. That is coming off. So be very careful because the magazine tube spring will fly off. So just be careful so that you don't lose this rather long spring, I guess. And then remember to keep this part, so the front piece part. Right, so once you have the front side off, you can now just slide off the entire palm grip assembly. Alright, the next step is to take off all the screws and remove this part of the shell. Alright, remember to keep your hands onto the shell, keep a constant pressure here, so that when the shell is loose, the spring will not just force its way out. So just take care of that. Alright, so when you have the shell open, you can now start to remove some parts. So first, this part from that shell, you can remove it. And then carefully remove the shell lifter and the shell lifter spring. The shell lifter can be removed, and also the shell lifter spring. Alright, keep them so when you want to reverse these modifications, you can do so by installing back all these parts. Alright, now you have the shell lifter and the stuff removed. You can set this aside first. Alright, so let's talk about the barrel piece. Now, if you have already assembled this part, it is quite likely that you already have at least the magazine tube glued to the barrel and the magazine tube bridge adapter. So now you have two options. If you have not used those epoxies, those AB part epoxy and non-permanent glues, you can attempt to break them by using boiling waters to break the glue and try and yank it out. Or you can actually purchase this part alone from our shop that is available as just a standalone part. I actually recommend that, and since you're going for this mod, might as well go for the extended barrel and the magazine tube, just for the look, or at least, yeah, Alright, so for demonstration purpose, I'm just going to use this. So I'm going to set this part, set this barrel and the magazine tube aside. But before that, remember to remove the follower that is inside the magazine tube and don't lose it. Grab the slope / the front supporting piece and this cylindrical piece. Right, so this is the magazine tube. This is where the magazine tube goes. So it goes like this. This part, and also grab the Allen key with the thick Allen key screw. So it goes in like this, right? And then this from the front of the barrel adapter, it just simply puts the assembly, puts this cylindrical 3D printed cylindrical in like this. Right, so make sure it sits nicely, like so. Yeah, and then you can see this part where the screw is exposed. This part screws into this front supporting piece on this hole, like so. Alright, and you can see there's one indentation here that is meant to fit the tabs on the barrel adapter. Is here. So it goes in like this. Like so. Right, so if you have difficulty screwing, tightening this screw, you can slightly enlarge this screw hole here just a bit so that you can actually easier, make this process easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that first. Alright, it should look something like this once it's assembled. Right, there should be minor slacks. Remember not to tighten these tools, not to over tighten this because this is 3D printed part, so it may crack if you over tighten it. Right, so and we are done with this part, so we can set this aside. Or for this demonstration purpose, I'm just going to, right, and then the barrel. Right, something like this. And then you can set this part aside. Alright, now we can work on the main receiver. So just grab the back supporting piece. Now this piece goes into the receiver. This knob and this knob matches the hole on the receiver on this side and this side. So it goes into something like this. Like this. Right? Alright, so this piece goes into here. Okay, that's really simple. And then now you can just prepare to close the shell. Alright, grab the barrel assembly that you have just assembled just now, and then install it carefully, like so. So just check and make sure that this front supporting piece is seated properly. It's not obstructing anything. Right, so it should look something like this before you close up the shell. Right, now let's close up the shell. Alright, once you have the shell closed, inspect and check carefully if the blaster is properly closed up and assembled. Assembled. Wow, what a broken English that I have. But anyway, it should look something like this. Once you have the front supporting, the slope, and then the back supporting piece here. So now we can start assembling the mag weld itself. Right, so actually before we assemble this, we can assemble the magazine catch first. So this magazine catch, as I mentioned earlier, if you need to, you can sand this part and this part smooth first. So just give it a light sand so that it's smooth. I've already done mine, so. And this is how it goes into. So like this, it goes into this hole, not this one, but this one, the lower hole, like this. All right, just make sure the hole is aligned, and then now you can grab the long pin. Now, before you actually install this, you probably will want to try and insert the long pin first. Just make sure that it's actually doable. Otherwise, then you might have to actually use some tools to sand the hole a little bit wider, just to make sure that this pin can be inserted smoothly. And that includes the hole on this part as well. Right? Just make sure that the pin can go in easily. And then, like this, align it carefully. Right, be very careful when you insert the pin. Do not use excessive force, or you risk damaging the 3D printed parts. So when the magazine catch is installed, it looks like this. Alright, now let's install the magazine release spring. This is probably one of the hardest steps to do in this entire process. So I found that the easiest way, you just grab the spring and then the short pin and just go through it like so, like this, and then you just put it into here carefully, right, like this. So you can see the spring is now dangling down there, right? You can see the spring's ring right there. So what you want to do next is just be very careful this don't go missing, because that can happen quite easily. So what you want to do now is you grab this side of the mag weld where it says ShanYe, right? So we want to install this long the Allen key screw in first. So this screw pot, so you just push it in, so it looks like this. So what you want to do next is actually try and hook the magazine catch spring, the ring, with this screw here. This is probably quite challenging, but definitely doable. So just carefully, using your index finger or whatever to, hold steady the spring there, and then you just try to tread over it, like so. And then you want to be very careful so that the spring don't comes off. So once it's in, it should look something like this. Oh no, I totally failed that. Excuse me. So it should look something like this. You probably can't see much from the camera because it's so tiny. But yeah, you can see that one of the ring from the spring is now hooked or latched over the screw there. So you want to be careful now. and grab the other side of the mag well and just carefully close it up like this. And then you just grab an Allen key and start tightening the screw. Right, once it's tightened, and remember, do not over tighten it, just hold it steady and then try and pull the magazine release. Just make sure that the spring is actually working. So right now it's working. Right, once that's done, congratulations, you have done one of the hardest step in the entire process. And then now you can proceed to tighten all the 8 screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And let's do it. Right, once you have the screw, all 8 of them tightened, and then it should be secured to the receiver itself nicely. So just take a final look on everything before you proceed. Make sure the shell is properly assembled. Make sure the magazine catch is working. At this point, you can actually just grab the magazine and insert it just to test it. Right? Make sure it clicks in nicely and that there's no excessive movement. Right? And make sure that you can plug the mag by pulling, activating or pressing the mag release. Right? Don't be alerted or worried if it's a tight fit. That's fine, because after a while the parts will break in and then it will just be smooth. And tight is better than loose. Right now, once that's done, you can proceed to close up the entire thing. Now, by installing the pump grid first. Right, once you have the pump grid installed, you can now just proceed to install the front side and the cover piece. Now, you no longer have to install the magazine tube spring, nor the follower, because it's no longer needed. But if you want to install them, just to put them in, so that they don't go missing, you can actually install it. That's fine. But otherwise, just put together with the other parts that you have just removed. And then now just proceed to close the cap. Alright, and then it is done. Alright, so just prime it a few times just to make sure that it works. Alright, and then now you can grab your magazines. Now this one, I have a short one here. There is also a long magazine that will fit 10 rounds, but this will be available on a later date. We are still making revisions to this because this at the moment is not really working that reliably. So yeah, so I'm going to show you how it looks like on the short one. So to load the magazine, just grab the shells with the darts. I don't think I need to explain this because it's quite self-explanatory. Right, so the shell magazine will take 5 shells. Right, and then it should look something like this. Make sure it's smooth. And then you can just insert it into the blaster. Right, like so. And then it should look something like this. Right? And we are done. Enjoy. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions regarding installing the ShanYe X Monkey Mods Firefly magazine adapter kit, please leave your questions down in the comment sections. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys again.